So good morning and welcome to Amazing Food and Drink. Today we're delighted to have Geri Martin, owner of the Chocolate Manor, with us. Welcome to the show, Geri.
Morning, Colin. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, we're so pleased to have you. So Geri, tell us a bit about yourself and your background.
Well, my background couldn't have been much further from food in reality. Whenever I left university, I started a career in media, PR, events and marketing. And over the course of 17 years, I worked through the voluntary sector and then the public sector, mainly working on PR and events. And that's what I was actually doing part-time for a number of years whilst I started running the business as well.
Brilliant. So what gave you the idea about the business and how to come about?
Well, like all good things, it wasn't really well planned. I was actually on maternity leave. I had just had my second child. My eldest was 3. And whenever my youngest was 4 months, I decided that I would go and do something for myself. So I went and did a 10-week chocolate skills course at Northwest Regional College. And before the 10 weeks was up, I actually had the house approved by Environmental Health, and we were started selling that Christmas. So I started in September, and by December of 2012, I was out doing markets selling my own chocolates. I had a little inkling whenever I went to do the course that I wanted to try and see if this would give me enough skill and knowledge to be able to start a business. So there was a little inkling there, but it wasn't particularly planned that that was exactly the route I was going to take.
Unbelievable. And had you had any idea that you wanted to go out on your own, or was this something that had been festering for a while, or what? I'm interested to find out what brought it about.
Well, I suppose, at that stage in my life, I was at a point where I had 2 small children. I had been working full time in the public sector in a role that was very demanding in terms of time and commitment. And I suppose in the back of my mind, it was probably more in relation to do with family and thinking about maybe being, self-employed might allow me to have more time, which in actual fact it doesn't. It actually you work longer hours and you work much more than you would ever do for anyone else. But I wanted to do something for myself as well. I was a very creative person. I probably would say that my former managers with them, not an easy person to manage because I'm quite headstrong and I know what I want to do. So probably from that point of view as well, moving out to be, doing my own thing was something I wanted to explore and see how I did it. But being really honest with you, Colin, I was very afraid in the beginning to say that I wanted this to be a business. I played it down a lot. I think we are all very afraid of failure. So, this is just a hobby. This is just something I'm going to try. I'm going to have a go. It's going to be a hobby for me. And it took me a while to actually admit to myself and, to others that this was something that I was really committed to as a business and I wanted to make it my livelihood.
Well, understandably, you'd given yourself a comfort blanket there. I think that's pretty normal. And as you say, we don't even like the idea of change, never mind saying, oh, I'm starting a business, because you're setting yourself up for a fall. And I fully understand that. But you're very entrepreneurial, because it's only people who are entrepreneurial who actually go about doing that, I have to say. So what were your challenges? So you started the business, the Chocolate Manor. What were the challenges you faced when you started?
Well, I suppose one of the big challenges was that I didn't make a plan. I didn't have an idea of, I didn't have a business background in any shape or form. I was very lucky to have the experience that I had in PR and in marketing. So I had a fair idea of how to promote the product. I also had the creativity, but the challenge was to really see how to be profitable, how to look at this as a business and not just something that I was having fun being creative and, making all these lovely little chocolates. So the challenge really that I found was not having those business skills and not having the plan. And whenever I actually, and as I said earlier, not admitting to myself. And once I did that, once I knew that it was something, I asked for help. And it was getting that help to be able to really make a plan and look at what is this costing, how much, what is the profit, and how to actually make this a real business. And I think that's the thing that was a turning point for me, was, you know, being honest with myself that this was something I was going to commit to, and getting the help in terms of the business skills. I've read an amazing business book by Michael Gerber, The E-Myth, and it talks about the technician, it talks about the manager, and it talks about the entrepreneur. And I was very much the technician for the first few years. I was the one who, you know, was really careful about how every single chocolate was made, and we still are. You know, we're very much about the artisan side of it. But I started to develop an entrepreneurial passion at that stage, and that was really, I realized then that's what I needed to have to make this more than a job, because essentially it's a job if you're just making and selling and that's it. If you don't have a plan and you don't have a look towards the future, then it's literally just a job you get up and do every day.
Brilliant. I've actually read that very book. It's a very good book indeed.
Great. It was given to me by my brother, who could see what I was doing. He could see from the outside that I was working very, very hard and not really going anywhere. In fact, I think his words to me were, "You're a busy fool," and he was right. He was very honest. He's very honest, my brother, and I really appreciated his honesty, because it made me step back, and it made me think about, you know, how much I loved it and the passion was there. But you know, when you're putting your own time and taking time away from family to do it, you know, it has to have a purpose. And, you know, that book really did. I still think about it in many ways in terms of how I run the business.
Brilliant. Siblings are great for being supportive and very honest, aren't they?
Very much so.
So what help did you actually get? Did you get help from maybe the council or you know, Invest NI? I'd be interested to hear about that.
Yeah, so over the years, I've been very lucky to have some amazing support. I was probably in the right place at the right time with the council, because they started up a business mentoring program, which actually ran across a number of council areas at the time. And I had a mentor for an entire year, and that really helped me transform the business. The very first day, the first thing that Ian, who was my mentor, did, sat down with me and said, okay, let's learn how to price a product, you know. And people don't understand that you can start a business without knowing these things. But when you're the technician, when you've the passion, that's the bit that you focus on. So I had a full year's mentoring through council, and that was totally transformative in terms of helping me to see that really it was all well and good, me making lots of lovely chocolates. And actually I was very reactive back then. If someone said they wanted a chocolate cowboy boot, yes, you can have a chocolate cowboy boot. If you said you wanted something else, I would order the stuff and I would make it. And that mentoring really did give me a basis for the complete, you know, journey that we went on. From that, then I was advised by another fellow business owner to approach Invest NI for an innovation voucher. So that, because we were starting to do things that nobody else does. And whenever I had contacted council, they said, oh yes, you need to have the official labels if you want to stock your products in other places. But there wasn't anyone there at that point who would have been able to sit down with me and say, this is how you do it. And as I said, I don't have a food background. And to be honest, you know, there would be very, very few food producers who could actually complete a full, proper nutritional label the way that it has to be done. And of course, I started a business in 2012, and in 2014 they changed all the food labeling regulations. So I was literally coming at this at a time where it was becoming so much more important. So I was very lucky to receive an innovation voucher from Invest NI, and at that point I worked with Caffrey and their team there, and that took the business to another level in terms of having a product that was ready for the retail area as well.
Brilliant. So it's been great that you've had help from both Invest NI and indeed the council. Which council was it, incidentally?
Causeway, Coast and Glens.
Very good. Brilliant. And that's actually good for maybe our viewers to know as well, that there is help out there, because like yourself, I started the business with no help, and I did very similar things. I didn't really know about pricing. I started a pizza business, and I learned after the event, much like you, a technician. But the help that's available now is brilliant. And it's great to hear that you'd availed from that magic. So how has your business evolved over the last number of years then, Geri?
Well, if you'd said to me back in 2012 when I was here in the kitchen that I would be fully self-employed, that I would have 2 staff and I would have my very own premises in one of Northern Ireland's most picturesque village locations on the coast, I would not have believed you. So totally, starting from the home kitchen with just myself, making lots and lots and lots of chocolates and responding to lots and lots of inquiries. The business has completely transformed. It's been an amazing journey to be on, and you learn as you go along, what more you're able to do. So I have established the Chocolate Manor as one of the leading bespoke chocolate organisations or companies in Northern Ireland, because we do very much work with our clients to deliver a product that they want. Through my mentoring and through the work that I did with Ian, I realised that we really needed to go into volume, that was going to be one of the big areas for us. And not long after working with him, I got my first order and my first opportunity to work with the Hastings Hotels Group. And from that one opportunity, then we were introduced basically to all of the hotels within the Hastings Group. So we now supply all of those with bespoke chocolates, and being able to have that sort of regular work then allowed me to take a step back from my day job and to commit to the business full time. I did move out of the house in 2014, and I moved into a small production unit, which was basically completely for production, and I worked there on my own until last year. I took on my first member of staff, a casual member of staff, who was fantastic, and I just needed some help with production. And then in the summer of 2019, I became an Invest NI client, where I was able to get support from them in terms of hiring more staff. So unfortunately, Gloria, who was my casual, had to leave us due to family reasons last year, but I now have 2 staff members, and we moved in January to a very exciting new premises on Main Street in Castlerock, where we have a production room, we've our kitchen, we've got a packaging room. I mean, we've gone from 1 room to 5 rooms, so where we've gone in terms of our location, but we're actually now based in this wonderful village. We've got a space now for our workshops, which we didn't have before. I always would have delivered workshops in other venues, maybe had to hire a hall or go to local hotels to actually have to deliver workshops. So we now have our own space for that. And thanks to the year that 2020 has been, I also became a chocolate shop and an Artisan Food Emporium, because we couldn't run our workshops, but we had this wonderful location. So we decided to, that great word that's been a big word this year is pivot and adapt. And we decided that we would open as a shop. So on the 1st of July, I opened a chocolate shop on Main Street in Castlerock. So it's been quite a journey.
Absolutely amazing. So when I asked that question about how the business is involved, it's flipping, it's gone bazookas. That's amazing. That is brilliant. And how has the shop gone?
The shop has been amazing. Between you and me, I never wanted a shop. Everybody's like, "Oh, you're moving into this fabulous place. You're going to be a chocolate shop." I was like, "No, I don't want to be a chocolate shop." And some of the reasons why I didn't want to be a chocolate shop have proven themselves, simply because you're tied in terms of the time, the big huge commitment in terms of staff and time. Both of my staff are part-time, and we're all mums, and we all have children at primary school, so that was a big thing, but we realized with the current situation that we had to do whatever it took to keep the business afloat. And so we had these premises, and we had this space that was literally just sitting there, and we hadn't any plans for the actual space, which we've turned into a shop. So it has been incredible. We've had amazing support from the local area. We've had amazing support from people who have bought from us for years. We've had people travel from all across Northern Ireland just to come to Castlerock to visit us in the shop. And we're also supporting a range of other artisan food products as well, from Taste Causeway and the Antrim Glens, which is amazing for us to be able to help other producers who've really struggled this year too. So from a business point of view, it really has been such a positive experience, and on a personal level, it's been amazing just to see the people who have been so supportive and who are delighted to have somewhere to come. But it did mean having to create a range of new and different things to fill shelves at a very short, turnaround. But the fact that we, had to stay in late, all throughout July in particular, just to keep remaking stock, there was stuff we couldn't keep on the shelves. So the response has been fabulous.
I love that complaint. That's a brilliant complaint. But that's been absolutely amazing again, that you've gone from bespoke to scaling up to now maybe producing more standardized products for the shop. And you're also helping other artisan producers, which is first class. Honestly, it's been brilliant. Fair play. I'm very impressed, Geri. Very impressed indeed. Tell me this: the industry surely is competitive. How you find it?
Well, I think when I've thought about this question, yes, there is competition, but we are very much an artisan product. We are very much handcrafted, and Northern Ireland does have a range of amazing chocolatiers, and we don't tend to compete with each other because we're all so different. We have others like Neary Nogs who are bean to bar, which is an incredible thing to be doing, to be bringing in the beans and starting from scratch. And we have others who are social enterprises and create award-winning products. So from my point of view, I always, from day one, wanted to do something that was unique, that was different, that you wouldn't see anywhere else. And so whilst it's competitive in terms of, people who want chocolate, we all do so many different things that there's enough room for all of us, and we are quite supportive of each other. In terms of, if there's something that I can't do, I will pass it on to others who can, because I want people to support artisans. I want people to see what there is. We don't ever see ourselves competing with, the chocolate from the Spar, or, if that's what you want, then that's great. And I mean, we all buy it, including me. But, we're a different type of product.
That's good that there's a support network there too, and you're able to pass on business, and obviously vice versa. Brilliant. So how do you see your products developing over time?
Well, we're very much looking, at the bespoke, the personalized. We've done personalized chocolate now for a very long time, but we're going to try and expand that more. And I think that certainly this year has shown us, in terms of what people want and about showing people how you feel. And if you can do that with chocolate, even better. So we're very much looking at how can we expand that, and what else can we bring to that area of the market in terms of brand new products. We've launched our chocolate postcards during lockdown this year, where it's a postcard size bar of chocolate, but it has your message on it, and it fits in a large letter box, so it can be posted through anyone's door. And so that was something completely new for us, because before that we were doing other bars, and we were doing boxes and those sorts of things. So from my point of view, we're really looking at that, and also trying to encourage people to think about what can they do with chocolate at home. So we launched a chocolate making lollipop kit during the summer, and we're going to try and expand that as well over the next few months. We have a few ideas for Halloween and for Christmas in terms of what you can be doing at home, because despite the fact that lockdown has been lifted, people are still spending a lot more time at home than they would be out. And so if we can help people to enjoy that time with their families, that's what we're going to try and do as well.
Brilliant. That's very innovative. I like the sound of those chocolate postcards. I might be talking to you after about those. That's amazing. So tell me, when you're thinking about chocolate, what makes the perfect chocolate? You tell me, explain to me what it is.
Well, to work with chocolate, you need to have patience, you need to have care, and you need to pay attention. It's a very challenging medium to work with, because there are more ways for it to go wrong than to go right. So we do have to, we, as I say, we handcraft everything. We are basically taking the chocolate and creating it, creating the product. Usually, and certainly until we had the shop, everything was made to order. So, we knew that there was a person who was waiting for this item. And it is a challenging ingredient because, as I say, there's so many ways it can go wrong. And especially when you're trying to do volume, but we still have to pay care and attention every single time we have a bowl of chocolate in front of us. The other thing is that obviously we work with white chocolate, we work with milk chocolate. Over the summer, we've done more dark chocolate than we've ever done, because obviously a chocolate shop has to have dark chocolate, whereas before with personalised chocolate, we didn't use it very much. We also work with an amazing chocolate called Gold, which is a butterscotch toffee caramel flavour. And we also work with the world's fourth chocolate, which is called Ruby, which is naturally pink and naturally fruity. And every single one of those chocolates has a different working temperature. It has a different method in terms of how it needs to be prepared in order to make it work. Because you're looking for shine, you're looking for snap, you want to make sure that the chocolate doesn't bloom. And so every single one of those has its own working temperatures. So it's quite challenging whenever you're under pressure and trying to make sure that you get the product out on time, that you follow it carefully. And whenever we're not paying attention, that's whenever we have problems. And then of course we have the weather, and the weather doesn't help chocolate making at all, because one day in Northern Ireland it'll be absolutely roasting, another day it'll be freezing, and we have to adjust how we work in terms of the temperature of our workshop. So there are times when we literally have to make it and get it straight into the fridge, and then there's other times that we're watching the chocolate nearly setting because it's so cold before we can even get it out of the bowl. So there's a lot of factors that make it challenging, and it's messy.
It's so much more complicated than I ever thought. All I can do, I can visualize and smell as you're telling me about those chocolates. I would absolutely murder a bar now. But that's amazing. I didn't realize how even the weather has an impact on what you do. So
Yeah,
what do you do? Have you got temperature control or something? How do you adjust?
So we basically have to take a read of the kitchen each day, and humidity is probably, the moisture in the air can be a huge issue for us, because moisture and chocolate are basically enemies, and so that does cause us issues. For example, before we moved, we were in a small production kitchen with no natural light, no windows, and last summer when we had a really, really hot spell in July, we were trying to make 15,000 chocolates for a client, and my fridge broke. So I actually had to go and buy a new fridge that day, because you couldn't leave the chocolate sitting out at all. Whereas normally, if the chocolate is prepared correctly and there's little humidity and the kitchen is at the right temperature, your chocolate should actually be fine sitting at room temperature to actually set. But every day is different. Even every day over this summer, it's been different. Some days it's been really cold, some days it's been really warm, some days you've got the fans on, some days you're rushing to get the stuff into the fridge. You just have to adapt and change every single day.
Mad, absolutely mad. This is getting my eyes open, magic. So tell me, you mentioned workshops there a couple of times. I think you still can't do it with the COVID restrictions. Have you thought of evolving it online, or what's your ideas?
Yeah, so during lockdown, I ran a couple of online workshops where I prepared kits, and then either people came and collected them or we posted them out to people, and then I would run the workshop with them, via Zoom. It was challenging because, as I just explained, there's so much can go wrong with it. It's not a simple recipe where do this, do that, put it in the oven for 20 minutes and we should all get the same result. So we tried it, and it may be something that we'll look at again, but I find it very difficult because the workshops are not just about the technique. The workshops are a social experience. They are about having fun, about showing the person what it is that they've done right or how to correct it if it goes wrong. And I find that quite challenging, because people were saying to me, like, we work with temperatures, and the temperature of the chocolate is key in terms of whether it's going to be correct whenever it resets or not. So people were, I was telling them they've all got different microwaves. That's the other thing. So I have a rough idea of the microwaves we have in our workshop, about how strong they are and roughly how long you should put something in for. But people were putting, chocolate in the microwave for 30 seconds and it was coming out nearly burnt. And I was like, oh, you must have it, so the online doesn't necessarily lend itself particularly well, but it might be something that we'll have to look at again. We are looking at how can we run some sort of experience over Halloween and in the run up to Christmas safely. It is such a hands-on medium. It's messy, and as a social experience, it's sharing resources. For example, whenever we ran our workshops before, particularly for adults, I would have got group 1 to make like milk and honeycomb, and group 2 would have made milk and orange, and group 3 would have made gold, and group 4 would have made ruby, and maybe group 5, so everybody was making different things. And at the end of the night, then everybody would get to go away with all of the different flavors. And obviously that's just not possible. And I'm not sure anybody wants to everyone come in to just everyone go away with 20 of the same chocolate or those sorts of things. So we're still trying to get our heads around it. And because we had the shop this summer, there just wasn't enough headspace to really think about how can we do this safely, and how can we do this, because we have the space. It's just trying to figure out how can we make this the most enjoyable experience for the customers, because that's what it's all about. I don't want people to come in and feel like it's all clinical and that sort of thing. So hopefully we'll have something coming up in the next month or two that we're able to run. But it's another thing we just all have to try and get our heads around.
Yeah, you have to go back to that fancy word for tap dancing, pivot again. Brilliant. So as an artisan producer yourself, I want you to extol the virtues of being one. Why should I, as a consumer, go to you as opposed to one of the larger outlets?
Well, suppose the key thing is that it's local. We are here. If you look, you've talked to me about my journey, and the whole idea behind all of the artisans that I work with. I'm part of the Taste Causeway network, which is so important in terms of showcasing artisans. We are the people who are there day and night. We are the people who have researched every single ingredient, or in many cases, for example, the likes of Reuter Gold actually grow the ingredients that go into the product. You can be sure with an artisan that what they're telling you is what is in the product. And it's about keeping the economy local. It's about helping us to grow our businesses so that we can then employ people, that we can then spend. If you look at my journey going from the house to a small industrial estate in Coleraine where I was renting off another business, and then being able to now rent premises and actually bring something new to the area. Every artisan has their own plan, and every artisan has their own idea of what it is that they want to create and where they want to go. Most of us don't ever want to be sold in Tesco's or Sainsbury's, because that's not where we see our products. What we want is to build an understanding of what it is to create this product locally. And so, okay, we can't grow the cocoa beans. That's not going to happen. We've enough trouble with the environment in making the chocolate. But when you get a bar of chocolate from us, you know that we have taken care and attention and time to create that. And it means so much. It's supporting a local family. It's supporting 2 other families in their livelihoods. And that's right across all of the artisans. And as I said earlier, when you run a business, you don't pick and choose the hours you work. You work when the work is there. And so we work long and hard to try and bring these new and exciting and innovative products to you.
Well, I think you've done a good job selling that. So on that basis, how do our viewers buy your products? Where can we get you?
Well, you can visit us in Castlerock now. And we're open certainly weekends in September and hopefully October as well. But always check our Facebook or Google, and we'll have our opening hours updated there as it changes during the winter. And we also have our website, which is thechocolatemanor.com. And on there you can order your own personalised postcard, you can order your own personalised chocolates, We've been doing some unique and different things. We've got our kits on there as well. So the website is probably the best place to go to then.
I may well be on there very soon. Now, lastly, Geri, and this has been absolutely amazing. What's the future for the Chocolate Manor and yourself?
Well, I feel really positive about the business at the moment. If you'd asked me that same question in June, I definitely would not have been so positive. But we have had a great summer. We are so grateful to every single person who has ordered online or who has come to visit us in the shop. We have so many great ideas. We want to bring the workshops back. We want to really develop a chocolate visitor experience in Castlerock, which is suitable for everybody in terms of whether it's families, whether it's schools, whether it's, community groups. Come and learn a bit more about your favorite treat and where it comes from, and then how to make chocolate at home. And as I say, we're coming up with new and different products now with the shop and for our online. So the future is really bright. People love chocolate, and we want to continue to bring great chocolate to people to delight and impress them as much as possible for as long as we possibly can.
Well, I can't wait to taste this chocolate bar, so I will definitely be on your website. And thank you very much indeed, Geri, for coming on the show, and I'm sure our viewers will absolutely love this.
Thank you for having me, Colm. I really appreciate it. It's been lovely talking to you.
And all the best for the future.